All right, class, I'm sure you're super excited for another video after how long that last video was when we were going over forms, form elements, and those things. Because of that, I'm going to try to cut these videos down into smaller, more digestible pieces and just make it a lot easier on both of us so that when I have to go back, if I cut anything out of the video or do any editing, it's a smaller video to work with. And for you guys, it's a smaller video to have to sit there and watch or try to find a specific piece of the video where I was talking about a certain thing that you couldn't remember or you needed to refresh yourself on as you move forward. I'm going to try to keep those videos, I don't know, between 5 and 10 minutes long so that they're just a little bit easier to work with. That being said, I want to look at styling our forms and form elements and things that we can do to make them look a little bit better. Now, we're going to be working with the HTML for this form that we did in that last video, and we're going to style this up, make it look a little bit better, see what we can do with it. So the first thing that I need to do here is create a new file, and I'm going to save this as styles.css. And then link that in the head of my HTML document. So link rel equals style sheet, href equals styles.css. And if you're ever not sure if your styles are linked correctly, as soon as you link them in your blank style sheet, you can add in some random style just to see if it takes place on the page. So here on the body element, I'm going to give the background, give that element a background color of green, save it, and then when I refresh my page, that background did go green, so I do know that my style sheet is linked correctly. I can take this back out because I don't want a green background, and then we're back to where we started with just this blank form, no styles on it. One of the first things that I want to do is put these labels and input elements side by side. So where we have the label and then next to it we have the input element instead of them being top to bottom, but also set that up where they're going to look a little bit better, and we'll look at some selectors that we can use for that. So to do that, I need to go in here and create some div wrappers for this. So here I'm going to have a div with a class. I want to call it col dash, we'll say 50. No, we'll say 25. And a div with a class of col 75. And that's just what I want to name them because I have in mind what I want to do there. You can use whatever class names make sense to you, but these are the ones I want to use. And I'm going to use those, so I'm going to put a label in this one and the input element in this one. So here I can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 elements in this field set. So I'm going to need 4 of these. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm just going to start moving elements from down here into where I want them. This label element and then this input element. Get rid of these line breaks and this label, and this input. And I'm just going to do these in this field set so that we have time to move on. You'll be able to see what's going on. You can use this in other field sets if you want to play with this and figure out, what's going on. So now all we've done so far is just put these inside of their own div elements. So when we come back over here, refresh this page, It looks just like it did when we had those line breaks in there instead. So we've not really changed anything yet other than the way we have this HTML structured. So in my styles, I'm going to create some styles for the COL-25 class, the COL-75 class, and then I want to create a style for every element that has a class attribute that starts with COL dash. And this here is an attribute selector. We've looked at those a little bit. In here, I'm looking at the class attribute, and this caret symbol before the equal sign is going to say that it starts with whatever I put inside of these parentheses or quotation marks. So it's going to select anything that has COL dash at the beginning of the class name. So here for class or COL 25, I want to set the width to 25%. And then the 75, I want to set the width to 75%. And in here, all of those elements, anything that starts with that COL dash, I want it to float left. And you can do this however you want. You could wrap these in divs and set up a flex box. You can set up a grid. You can use Bootstrap. Whatever it is that you feel the most comfortable with doing, or whatever you want to work with, you can use that and make these work. So looking at this, just making those changes, we can refresh our page. And now we have this first name, last name, age, and the email address. Didn't do anything. Did I forget to? I did. I forgot to put this up here into our divs that we had wrapping that. So that didn't look as good. But now that we put that up there into those divs, we kind of have this look where we had the label on the left, the box on the right, and we can set those up and change those however we might need to. This was just a quick example of kind of setting up some of those containers and giving that a look. You would want to kind of play with it, see what you need to do. Maybe you need to set these up to do something different. Real quick before we end this video, we can look at just giving these yeah. I can give these a col dash class equals col dash 50% or 50. I'm going to copy this into these other wrapper divs. Save that, and then if we have a col dash 50 class, set that width to 50%, and it's going to float left by default. So now when we refresh our page, we can have kind of a two-column layout going on: first name, last name, age, email address. Again, however we need to lay that out, whatever we might need to do with that. But it's just a lot of it has to do with your HTML structure and the styles that you are giving to those elements that you have wrapped around different pieces of your content.